Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Devin Rex for Art. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of this glue book that I made. A couple videos ago I showed how I made it. I was inspired by Nicole Relax.cut.glue, where she had taken, I think it was a Women's Day magazine, she had cut it in half and then she had glued the pages inward this way. What I explained that I'd done is I had already cut a similar magazine to this into a square shape, and I had that ready to go when I saw Nicole Relax.cut.glue's video. So I thought I would do that, and I would, fold these pages in and make it, instead of her, I think her book would probably be about this big, so mine's a little bit longer. So I tried to keep it a glue book. I think a glue book is traditionally you just glue things. You don't, I could be wrong, but I think you're supposed to just glue things and not add pen work or paint or things like that. So this isn't maybe a traditional glue book, but I just wanted to have fun. So it's a glue book my way. So let's get into it. So I finished the cover. That was the last thing I did. I had already glued on this eye and pretty quickly, because I just liked it on the cover. The magazine had the word look on it, so I just added these little statues. I kept her mouth there. These are some little borders that I made using those pens that outline markers. I thought they were fun. So as you draw, you get like a silver line, and then you get whatever outline color of the pen. So I used that. I was just doodling on the phone one day and I made these little strips. The back cover, I used some papers, a paper from Robin McClendon's Printables for the background, and I added this magazine picture, probably from a travel magazine. And then where it was white, I just did some doodling with some gold gel pen. And then I put a washi tape on the spine because I knew that would be getting a lot of wear and tear, and I thought a washi tape would be more flexible than just plain copy paper, which is what this was printed on, was just plain copy paper. And so I had folded in the front cover. There's the rest of her face. You see there's her lips, there's her eyes. And in my glue book, I didn't totally cover everything. I left some bits of the magazine showing on certain pages. This is some painty paper that I had left over. This is a paper from the dollar store. This is a tag from Beth Schuler. I just popped it in there. I like, just having some fun stuff. And some marbling paper I had done here. This was a ATC card from Cali Crafty Pam. She sent me some happy mail. I think she sent me this note as well. And you're going to see more of her tags in here. So I thought this would be a good place to put some happy mail too. So I'll point that out when we get to it. This was a lady from this vintage fashion book that I used quite a bit. So it's got some really nice images, and it's quite good quality paper as well. So I've used quite a few images from that in this book. So when I point them out, I'll just say that's from the vintage fashion book. This is part of the magazine showing. Here's another card from Cali Crafty Pam. I just thought it was so funny. I've got it all together, but I forgot where I put it. Love it. She sent me these little fodder pieces as well. This was a paper doll from Raquel, known as Raga3600 on Instagram, and she'd sent me some paper dolls. They were a little bit smaller, so I enlarged them on my photocopier, and I printed them on more of a cream colored paper. This is a textbook that I had put some magicals on. Mark making paper, coffee dyed, Sumi ink, and then coffee dyed the paper. Wonderland Awaits, that was part of the original magazine. That's some painty paper, so that's with Bombay ink, Sumi ink, and then some South After sprays. There's more of that mark making paper, leftover painty paper. So this was, using stencils, using just a piece of paper to put leftover paint on, and it builds up some fun layers. And then I think I sprayed it with gloss sprays. This is a picture I took in Barcelona, and I printed it out just on regular copy paper. This was a jelly print image transfer I had done. This was a Robin McClendon printable, and I added some green Bombay ink on it. This is a coffee stained music paper. Here is the magazine that I had used to make this print. So this was what was left over on the magazine. So I thought that looked kind of cool. This is was an ad in the magazine, and I just liked how it was very fuzzy, and just I felt it told a story. And I glued down tracing paper that I had marbled, so it's very faint. You can't really see the marbling very well. And then some fodder. Trudy Gaga Toots sent me these Tim Holtz photo booth pictures. I think these claim checks were from the scrap chick Colleen. This was a page that was originally in the magazine, but I had torn it out, and I had used it to brayer off my some paint when I was jelly printing, and I just kind of liked how it distressed it, and I thought that, you know, it's sort of a shiny paint, and I liked shine is my favorite color, so I just thought I would just glue that back in here. This is some more painty papers with Bombay ink and sprayed with more gloss sprays. This is a paper doll that Calligraphy Pam made, and I thought it just went excellent on here. This is just a bit of the magazine showing through. This quote was on the magazine: "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Well, I guess they cut off part of the word, it's on the other side, but you get the point. And that's Leonardo da Vinci. Some marble paper I'd made. More painty paper. This was a flower from a greeting card that I had cut out, and I just wrote in, "Don't be shy, be bold, be you." This lady was part of the magazine, and this mermaid tail was from Calligraphy Pam. And this lady, you can see when I folded over, I kept her here. I added some Robin McClendon printables, and this is another from another magazine. I don't remember what the magazine was, but it was in my collection of fodder, so I think I glued it here, and then I folded it over there, and I just liked how that looked. I did a few doodles. This was leftover piece, I think from the vintage fashion book, and I just added a bit of those outline pens. This is a tag from Calligraphy Pam. "Where's the unsubscribe button to adulthood," or on adulthood? So she does some really cool tags. You should check her out on Instagram. That's her Instagram handle. Thank you, Pam. This little bit was in the magazine. It was part of an ad. So it goes across. This little, this Asian text, I just wanted to make sure these little guys were visible. And that was given to me by Kathy Bird, putting this outline on my last video where I did a lot of the gluing in the center section of the magazine. So you can check out my last video if you want to see how that was done. This was left over from jelly printing, and I just like how it's very, you know, it's the hint of a story there. You don't know exactly what the story is. I don't know if you can see that lady there. So again, when I did a magazine transfer, a magazine image transfer, what was left over on the magazine image was this. This was some tissue paper that I had used some alcohol inks on the jelly plate. So what was left over on the stencil, I transferred to this tissue. This page, this fellow was in the magazine. The rest I added. This is a jelly plate. That's from a travel magazine. I think this was in the magazine, the original magazine. This was from another magazine with the snail. I think it was an advertisement for something. This lady was from the vintage fashion book. This was a jelly print I had done when I did some faux botanical prints on the jelly plate. That was one of the papers I had used to do the initial pickup. This little, it's just a die cut remnant of a little bee on glossy paper. And I just, that's from a phone book. I think I had just used it as a roll-off sheet. That's the magazine, and I just drew some birds with Posca acrylic pen. And the quote, so I had some coffee dyed paper and I was listening to some music, so I was just randomly writing out some of the quotes from the song. So I ended up with a 8x11, just full of words that, you know, from songs. And I think I used Sumi ink I had some leftover Sumi ink, so I was just using it up, and I thought that would make maybe some neat additions. So I used that one here. Across the evening sky, all the birds are leaving. How can they know it's time for them to go? This was part of the original magazine, so I added this lady from the vintage fashion book, and I outlined her in gold because she's very 80s to me. These are a few quotes from RuPaul's Drag Race, Opulence. They have some funny skits about that. And I own 51% of this company. And I thought it was neat to just leave a little bit of the word from the original magazine. It just adds a bit of character, even like on the sides here. And this I had shown doing the gluing in the last video I'd done, and then I added this quote afterwards. It takes a lot of courage to show your dreams to someone else. And that was a quote by Irma Bombeck. This page I had done the flippies on the last video. Since then I added some stickers. Those were from Dee Dee. I think this tag was from Colleen. This was a sticker from Dee Dee Willingham. So when I say Dee Dee, I mean Dee Dee Willingham. This paper was from Lady Jan. This lady was from that vintage book. And this text was from Robin McClendon's printables, as was the marbling. And it was French, so that's why I kind of went with the Paris travel theme. I've never been to Paris. I would love to go someday. This I showed partially how I did it last video, but I lost some footage, so I didn't get to show all of it. So I made this paper doll, and I didn't show that in my last video, but basically I took paper from the dollar store and I added watercolor, and then I outlined the print that was on the paper with gold pen and silver pen. I have an Instagram reel about that process. And I used a Jane Davenport stamp for her face. I used this one here. And I had stamped it on some of that Robin McClendon text page, just that I had printed out on, I think it was on linen, cream colored paper. And I used watercolor. I based her out with some flesh tone acrylic paint to just sort of push back some of the words. And then I used a combination of watercolors and pens to color in her face. And this fish, I think it was orange, so it didn't quite go. So I sort of colored it with some acrylic paints. And then I wrote Dance Me to the End of Love, which was the song I was listening to at the time. There's a space page from a magazine. This was torn out from a calendar, and these were painty papers. This page was also shown in my last video. I showed very quickly this book it came from. This is a book I found just at Value Village, which is like a secondhand store, and it's got some good little images in it that I've been using off and on. And so that's where this page comes from. And I had already written this quote, but I think I went over it with these outliner, with the outliner marker after, because I didn't like how it looked. So I just had written, may the odds be ever in your favor. I added, so that was on this yellow Joss paper, which is see-through, so you can kind of see the text underneath, which I enjoy. some fodder from Pam, and I did some doodles. This wasn't done in the last video. I had added the doodles, the fodder, and I added the word slay to the page, slay the competition, to put it more in the Hunger Games theme, which I think is ironic because Victorian ladies are all very prim and proper, and I just love this image so much of them doing archery, so I thought I'd sort of, you know, just play on that a little bit. This I had shown in the last video. This is from a magazine. This was from a magazine. This was actually from the magazine I use. It's just a travel magazine I use when I'm gluing. And as I was gluing and I was turning pages, I saw this image and I just tore it out on the spur of the moment, and I ended up sticking it on this page. This is some coffee dyed paper. I believe this paper was sent to me by Raquel, Raga 3600. And I had added some coffee dye to it. This I did on the last video. So this image is from that vintage fashion book. And then this page here was already in the magazine, the original magazine. So I just added some words. And I added this little tube and the stars. And you can see it's funny because there's like paparazzi in there. It's from a fashion show. So it kind of adds to that star theme. This was a advertisement from a comic, an Archie, Riverdale Archie comic that Raquel, Raga 3600 had sent me, and I glued it down, and it was very old, so I ended up just putting a light glaze of this dragonfly glaze, this here, just to seal it in and just kind of give it a bit of sparkle. And this is from the Vintage magazine. These are some stickers. I did some doodling with some Posca. This I actually added with watercolor. So I had, I printed out this picture from Greece, and I printed it, and then I traced it onto this page, and I watercolored it. And I actually ended up watercoloring the yellow, the red, and the rainbow as well, just to punch it up a bit, just to make it a bit brighter, because it was quite faded. So obviously I was thinking of the movie Grease. My son and I had just watched it, I think the week before, and so I had a lot of these songs in my head. So these are my favorite scenes, are the Go Grease Lightning scene. I don't know if anybody else likes that scene. And the Beauty School Dropout, that's my other favorite song from that movie. And this is just actually from the magazine, the original magazine. And the quote, "Simplicity is the keynote of all true elegance, Coco Chanel." So I left it as is. I just added 3 stickers. I believe it was from this awesome sticker book that Gaga for Gluing, Trudy, sent me. And it's called the Botanist Sticker Anthology. And it has just a lot of beautiful images. It's a lot like the Antiquarian sticker book, which I use a lot. This has more of a mix of images. This one is strictly botanicals and some insects. So this page I added just some jelly prints, some scrap book paper. I left the lady from here. I left her peeking through here, and this is a quote from that coffee dyed paper I had, and again some scrapbook paper. So some of the edges I inked and some I did not. I was just kind of random with that. This is a magazine page, another magazine page. This green graph paper was sent to me by the scrap chick Colleen. So I kind of liked it there, and I like how you can see some of the wording from the magazine below it. This was a Jane Davenport stamp on some text, and then I used a sticker from the Botanist sticker book. This is a little stamp a postage stamp I'd made, and then I cut out some little plants from some scrapbook paper that I had. This is scrapbook paper from the dollar store, and I just added some doodling with gel pens. And this is from the magazine, the existing magazine, and I just liked how it was modern and simple. So I'll probably just leave this as is. I don't think I'll add more to that. And here I had stuck down some leftover painty paper from a stencil. I think I added a bit of green Seth After spray. This is from Robin McClendon's Printables, her marble series. And this is the back of this painty paper. And I just knew I had to put Barbarella's. This is Jane Fonda and Barbarella from late 60s movie. And this is a quote from that movie. "A good many dramatic situations begin with screaming." This is an image from a magazine that I had done an image transfer using white paint, so it sort of muted the whole picture, which I thought was interesting. And this is another quote from that coffee paper: "Rest your head, you worry too much." And this is from Robin McClendon. Here, this is an advertisement peeking out from the original magazine. This was some packing tape of some sort that I had got, and this is that mark making coffee dyed paper. This page, the Robin McClendon, I glued that, and then some bingo paper I got from Colleen the Scrap Chick, some ledger paper that I had got from Kathy Berg, and this is on rice paper, and this is leaf printing done by Kathy Arbor, and I got this from a magazine, Savor What You See. And I just love the feel of this page. Like, I won't add anything to it. I just love how it all feels, the different types, different papers. And I definitely want to use more of this ledger paper Kathy sent me. I've been hoarding it, so I really have to break it out and get to it. You can see it says December term 1944. So that's some real vintage paper there. Getting near the end, this is a page. So this was in the original magazine, and I left some of the text peeking through. And this was from an atlas, coffee dyed music paper. This was one of Robin McClendon's prints that I tore up, and then I added a bit of gold ink there, so it has a neat little texture to it. And here, this is the magazine peeking through in these sections. I kind of liked how you could see, like, you could maybe think, oh, that says believe, amazing stories, perceptions, collection, girls to see them, rock, I want to change. I just like just little bits you could just, your brain could make a story up. This was from Calligraphy Pam. This was some marble paper I had made myself using shaving cream. This drink here was actually a page that I had ripped out from this magazine. I probably ripped out 3 or 4 pages in total, and I just felt like I wanted that back in here. This is a sticker that Lady Jan sent me. It's just a pretty mandala, and it's see-through, so I thought I wanted to put it in a special spot. And this was just a winter scene that was in the magazine, the original magazine. And this is some Suminagashi print or paper I had done using Sumi ink on water, and I just ordered a set. I want to do more of that paper, but I only had black, so I ordered a marbling set, Boku Undo Suminagashi, and it's got, how do I put it? That's backwards. It's got different colors. That's probably gonna be my next video. I'll do some Suminagashi. I just find it very relaxing. And anyways, this was on rice paper, so I glued it in. This was, I think, from Graphics Fairy, this paper here. This is from that vintage fashion book. I made a little pocket. And I don't think there's anything in that pocket. And then there's the back cover. So there you have it. There's the Gluebook My Way. Like I said, I don't know if it's a traditional glue book, which is just, I think, just gluing things together. I could be wrong. Maybe there's more leeway with glue books. Let me know what you think in the comments if there's a specific rule for glue books. But to be art journaling is about fun. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little flip through. See you later. Bye-bye.